sure you do yours. I said, because I bet you're a real pro at it. And she looked at me and she started describing her routine for doing the laundry. She has all these pile of clothes broken down based on fabric type, color of fabric, because she has different water temperatures and different additives she uses for different loads.
Holy crow!
Doesn't like anybody breaking in when she's into her routine doing the laundry. And it was a science project. And as she was describing this, tears are starting to pour down my face, And she says, Cliffy, what is it? I said, you're my father. He was the laundry manager of the Royal Victoria Hospital in Montreal, which is a big teaching hospital associated with the McGill University School of Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his laundry. And so that's how I clued her in on that. And that's when my first book is Are You Wearing a Barrel, which was the question she asked me, which clued me into who she was on that one. So that's my first book, was documenting that whole experience. And the research I had to do to confirm that, I ended up contacting the Montreal Gazette and trying to find, see if I can get a copy of that editorial of that cartoon. And that was confusing. I thought maybe it was the Montreal Star, not the Montreal Gazette, And then I found out the Montreal Star ceased publications, and they said, well, no, they didn't. He said, he didn't work for the Star. He worked for us. That was John Collins. So I got his phone number and contacted him and told him about my story. And he sent me a copy of a book that he had just published, Montreal Memories of the Century by John Collins, with a lot of his cartoon work in there. And I said, if it's not included in there, John, can that who can be sent to me? He says, I'll take care of that for you too, Cliff. And he sent me an original cartoon that I have framed in my office here. In the bubble it says, I'm you-know-who. And so I got that, and I took that into work and showed her that. And I said to her, well, Dad, I was wrong. You were right. He wore a hat. And because I didn't remember the hat, and I showed her the cartoon, and the look on her face, her eyes as big as saucers, just staring at it, and she takes the cartoon out of my hand and just staring at it, and I says, that trigger any memories? She says, oh, I remember that hat. So she was born and raised in San Francisco. I've never been to Montreal.
Wow.
So
what happened between you and her?
We were all during. I'm retired from the city now, but we used always, go out having dinner at night. We'd have a group of people. We'd go out and have their little Friday night get-togethers, and I'd always be accompanying with her. And I send her flowers every Christmas, even now, even after I'm retired.
What a nice guy.
I always send her flowers. And she says, boy, you never forget me, Cliff. And I said, oh, I can never forget you,
Let me ask you this, Cliff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Even though you're psychic, your marriage ended in a divorce. Shouldn't you have seen that coming?
Well, of course, then, at the time, my first marriage, I didn't really, or at least I didn't exercise any psychic abilities during my first marriage. When that happened, that's when that kind of triggered me becoming very introspective. And an acquaintance of ours that was into Eastern philosophies and taught yoga, she got a hold of me and started teaching me and introduced me to the Eastern philosophies and had me going to ashrams with her. And I met up with Swami Satchidananda and had a chat with him, and took me to the Vedanta Society in San Francisco, and I used to go to services and that with her at that. So that's what started me getting into the Eastern philosophies and starting to meditate, and that's what woke up the psychic muscle for me. So that was after my first marriage when all that happened.
So what can people do who are listening? How can they awaken their psychic muscle?
Well, meditation. If they're doing meditation, it is to get to control the mind. You end up having a mantra that it could be anything, just as long as it's something that You can even be humming, but so have some kind of a mantra. The Roman Catholic Church, it's the Rosary. That's really a mantra. They don't know why they're doing it, but they're repeating that Rosary all the time, going through that as to quieten the mind down so that you can become to receive communications. You see. So by doing that and then learning to concentrate, what you want to do, and you're putting out and then intuitively receiving communication in. That's how you exercise that psychic muscle, is controlling your environment to quieten that mind down so that it's not chugging away with everyday traumas and so forth, to just be quiet, and that's what meditation does. Then learning how to really do the concentration.
How does your psychic muscle help you in your day-to-day life today, now that you've retired? How do you practice? How do you keep your psychic muscle fit?
I get into some, like any time I can go quiet and just become more intuitive and just to quieten down. I have a mantra that my teacher that I had that taught me Sanskrit for about 8 years, Dr. David Teplitz, and he gave me a mantra called the Gayatri mantra, and I have it printed out. He gave it to me, and I have it printed out and framed in my office, so I can go through reciting that frequently too. And so I do things like that to quieten my mind down, just to receive communication. So and things just come in to me, and if I have a question on my mind, then an answer may come to me. You see.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take my news break at the bottom of the hour. Exo Nation, Clifford Coull is our special guest this hour. He's the author of 2 books. The first book is entitled Like Trees Grow Together, and the second book, Are You Wearing a Barrel? His website is www.cliffordscoull.com, and that's cliffordscoull.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away. We'll be back after the news. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships. Not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com. $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X Zone radio show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Joyce with Stargazing for the X Zone for the week of April 28th. The sun will look like a ring of fire above some remote parts of the southern hemisphere on Tuesday during a solar eclipse, but most people around the world won't get a chance to see it. Whereas lunar eclipses occur when there's a full moon, the solar eclipse only happens during a new moon. Half the world saw the blood moon lunar eclipse during the full moon of April 15th. Tuesday's eclipse will occur when the moon is closest to its farthest distance from the Earth, making it too small to cover the sun completely. The resulting effect looks like a ring of fire called an annulus, and that appears as a silhouette around the moon. Remember, when there's a new moon, there's no moon at all. The worldly application of a Taurus solar eclipse is to help you get in touch with your core values. It blocks out personal ego desires to go right to what your inner spirit wants to manifest. The opportunity is to bring higher values and greater beauty into your life now. The new moon and solar eclipse on Tuesday may send the world into a mild tizzy. Watch North Korea and the Ukraine for major upsets with government. But you will get another opportunity to consolidate whatever advantages you have gained over the past few months. A Taurus new moon is excellent for putting practical effort into your needs and desires. Health and wellness options get a boost early in the week, perhaps prompting you to consider a new diet or exercise routine. There's also positive news on the work front, as changes can mean a boost in earnings or a promotion. If you've been applying for a new job, you may get some good news. Later, Venus glides into Aries, which brings romance and pleasure. Look, your love life is looking much livelier. Enjoy a few social outings. It might help take your mind off some more stressful matters. Perhaps you want to make some changes in your home, new furniture, paint, whatever. Whatever comes your way, you'll probably put a lot of energy into it, so focus and accomplish what you want. Because there's lots of planets in unmovable signs, Taurus and Scorpio, as May opens on Thursday, be careful of stubborn my way or the highway thinking. Warrior Mars is still retrograde until May 19th. Consider what is dead in your life and needs to be released. Know that your highest path is shown if you go into your inner self to seek direction. Continue with hard work early in the week, and then make time for a variety of fun as the month of April ends under a Gemini moon. Gemini wants to keep things on the move, talk to a lot of people, and does not get bogged down in any one thing. Enjoy May Day and the Kentucky Derby on Sunday. Time to plan for some summer fun.
And for more information about Elizabeth Joyce or how to contact her for a one-on-one consultation, she does worldwide readings, Exonation, using Skype. Her website is www.new-visions.com, or you can send her an email to elizabeth.joyce.email@gmail.com. My guest this hour is Clifford Coull, and Clifford's the author of Like Trees Grow Together. And Clifford, welcome back to the X Zone. Tell me about your book.
The second book, well, its title is, how I got that title was my Sanskrit teacher, Dr. David Teplitz, bumped into the rector of our Episcopal church that I belong to here in the States. I grew up in the Anglican church in Canada, and but here, of course, the Episcopalian church. And they bumped into each other at the local mall here, and the priest of the church says to Dr. Teplitz, says, I think Cliff enjoys being with you more than coming to church. And he said to her, he says, I wouldn't worry about that. Like trees grow together. And he said, like trees grow together. That's an interesting comment. Can I use that in a sermon? He says, by all means. So that's how I got my title of my second book. Like Trees Grow Together. That was my second book. The first book I wrote was the Are You Wearing a Barrel?
Tell me, Cliff, what is the message behind your second book, Like Trees Grow Together? What do you want to get across to the reader?
The main thing I want to get across to the reader is that reincarnation is a fact. We all grew up and taught that we only got this one body and one life to live, and then you end up with a lot of questions that can't be answered in that scenario. Like why are they prodigies? Why do we have all these sexual people of various different sexual orientations? Heterosexual, homosexual, asexual, bisexual. People going through transgender surgeries and so forth. This is huge stuff they're going through, and why are they so inclined to do something like that?
So what proof do you have of reincarnation?
Well, I'll tell you this. This is my. I have another story to tell you for me that proves reincarnation. Well, the first story, but
your dad
proving that she's my father coming back. My father had died in 1956, and she was